All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to first welcome everybody for taking the time out of their day to come and learn a little bit more about mindfulness and meditation. To those that are out on the web, at their desk, or on the phone, thank you for joining us, and we definitely appreciate your time and your dedication to really work at getting this session in. So my name is Nathan Morant, and I am your Benefits Wellness Program Manager. You will be getting attendance today for professional development. If you're on the web, I'll automatically be getting a attendance sheet from Zoom. The only thing that I will not get is an attendance from those that have called in. So if you're calling in, you're going to need to go ahead and send me an email that you called in and the number you called in from so I can verify it. Now, the first session that we went over was in regards to the science of mindfulness. And today we're going to begin bridging that gap from the science to the practice. Without any other hesitation, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce Isabel Alfonsin-Vittoria and the second session for today on mindfulness and meditation. If you happen to have any questions out on the internet, please go ahead and chat them or write them in the chat box, and I'll answer them as quickly as possible, or I'll refer them to Isabel. And if you happen to have any questions in the audience, please feel free to raise your hand, and Isabel will get to you as quickly as she can. So, Isabel, take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody here and everybody watching. I'm happy to be here. I brought a quote that I hope is provocative and hopefully keeps your attention on the topic today. It's actually a quote from Frank Zappa. Anyone know who that is? Any rock lovers here? I can't remember the band, but yes, I was saying. Yeah, he's a rock musician. So here's his quote. How mindful of him, right? We don't typically think of rockers as mindful people. That sounds like a bias, right? The mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work if it is not open. The mind is like a parachute. It does not work if it is not open. I think that the message here is intention. Yes, that we be mindful, that we're paying attention with intention, with attention. So, fun fact, but I'd rather try and see if any of you know this. How many thoughts do you think we have in a minute, per minute? Random thoughts that are happening in your brain at any given moment, per minute. I have 1,000. 4,000 per minute. Anyone on Zoom want to give it a shot? Yes.
Jesus says 200. 200.
All right, from 200 to 1,000. The answer is 40. You have 40 random thoughts per minute. So do the math. You can take it from there. But in any event, you have a lot of choice to make within every minute of your life. And it's very important that you utilize the information that you're learning here to see how you want to do that. Today we're going to be talking about mindfulness on the go. What do I mean by that? You're going to find out soon. We're going to revisit some lessons that we talked about in the first session. We're going to explore some ways to be mindful. I'm going to give you suggestions. I'm going to invite you once again to choose mindfulness. And we're going to finish with a mindful group meditation. Only 5 minutes. Everybody in? We're game? Awesome. So, on the go. What do you think I mean by on the go? Is that counterintuitive to being mindful? Does that sound like a conflict when I say on the go? It kind of may mean that I'm moving rather fast. Yes? Anyone else want to have a different interpretation of on the go? Come on, there's a lot of smart people watching and here. Okay. Anyone on Zoom have any idea for why we're referring to it on the go? All right. Easy. It means it's mobile. Mindfulness goes with you wherever you are. So you don't have to pack it. You don't have to plan for it, right? You don't have to buy it. It's with you. A cute, I think, illustration is where this little rabbit says to the other little rabbit, what is that? Just my mind. And that's really just a depiction of when we have a mind that is full of things versus when we're mindful. The distinction between being full of a lot of that clutter that this bunny is perceiving versus being mindful, which hopefully means that your mind is able to interpret all of those thoughts in a much more calm way. a very cute little illustration of something that John Kabat-Zinn is often heard saying is, wherever you go, there you are. So just like the elephant has a little backpack, right? Think of all the tools that you're going to learn over the course of this series as things that you could throw in your backpack that are mobile, that will go with you wherever you are. You might need it now during, for those of you that like Halloween, if you go to the Halloween costume store, you might need to have that on you, okay? Or if you're going to go to Walmart to buy candy, or anywhere else where there's going to be a lot of people, you're going to need your little backpack. So wherever you go, there you are. Take it with you. Remember, that is not something you have to plan for. It is always with you. I wanted to give you some information to bring to light how stress can play a role in your life, but also the cost that stress has in the workplace. As you know, this mindfulness series is intended to be a de-stressing workshop. So I thought you should take a look and find out what it is that's happening nationally. 58% of Americans say that work is a significant source of stress. And where do we spend the majority of our time? At work, okay? 1 in 5 Americans say that tech is a major source of stress, but yet what do we all always have on in our hands, okay, or at our disposal? On our wrist, right? Or at our desk, some kind of smart device where we're connected to technology. And 43% of Americans identify as constant checkers. Maybe you guys can resonate with that. People that are constantly, right, responding to the ding or the buzz or the vibration of their devices and causing a lot of distraction. ComPsych, which is a major managed care company, says that it's breaking down the main sources of work stress into workload, people issues, work-life balance, and job security. But the number one thing is the heavy workload. So imagine a day where you have a lot of work and you have all of these distractions and you're having the flood of your random 40 thoughts per minute. That's about, I think, a picture that we all can relate to. And having a way to cope, wouldn't that be something that you would find helpful? So again, that's another selling point. It's costing organizations about $300 billion a year, stress in the workplace. And what do you think that's about? Why would an employer be affected by the amount of stress that you feel? Lower productivity. One of the people here attending says lower productivity. Yes, the cost of an employee who is distracted, who is not able to finish the work, multiply that times the number of employees across the year. You can do the math. Not just distraction, but rework, right? Because sometimes we make errors. We talked about that last time. We talked about, the difficulty of staying on task. Yes, Nathan.
Melody mentioned productivity, employees sick, but not at work. And then Diana mentioned sick time.
Absolutely. When we're very stressed out, what are we likely to do? Call out, right? And although I am all for the mental health day, I really am. I talk about that all the time. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you're going to always be looking at publications that I'm posting about that. I am in favor of mental health days. However, mental health days times a workforce of nearly 11,000 employees at FIU is a lot of money, okay? And what could we do to alleviate some of that? If 43% of it, if a big portion of it, 58% say that it's work, then there's stuff we can do for you here at work that can alleviate some of that. So this is just a picture to give you a sense of how much it affects people here. And this is something we referred to in the first session where I talked to you about the toggle that is happening in our minds often when we are either being focused too much on the future or being pulled too much by the past instead of being able to stay in the present. So mindfulness is about drawing your attention to what's happening in the present moment and only in the present moment, because that is exactly the only moment that we truly have, right? A very beautiful quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, who we lovingly call Tay, a beautiful Buddhist monk who lives in Plum Village in France, who has moved many people in the world with his kindness. And he says, we have more possibilities available in each moment than we realize. And we talked about that last time. We talked about all the moments that we completely overlooked in the pursuit of the next moment. Tay turned 93 this week. And he is ill, but he is living his life in Plum Village with all of his followers. And so I think that it's important for us to take a moment and realize, you know, the blessing that your life is every day that you wake up, that you take a breath, that you have another opportunity, right, to start over, to press that reset button. Last week, I gave out handouts to the folks that were here in the room, and I know that Nathan made them available to many people who requested. There are some more here on the desk today if anybody would like to take them. This is the work of Elijah Greenfield. She wrote Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, a workbook I recommend it for anybody that wants to learn more about MBSR. This is one of the techniques from MBSR. It's called stop appropriately, right? Stopping just to pause, taking a breath, observing what's happening, and proceeding. It's very simple, right? Stopping, taking a glance at your, surveying the landscape, what's going on, after you take a nice breath in, and then proceed. We find that it's very helpful in, again, pressing the reset button. A moment of stress, calls coming in, emails dinging, somebody's at your door, you've got to go to the restroom. Yes, it happens to all of us. Stop. Proceed. I have another new technique called snack. For those of you that are interested, I have provided you with the information below about the website where you can find this information. This is the work of Dr. Carla Naumberg, and it's a very cute and gimmicky acronym. I think it's very easy to remember, but it involves many of the elements of STOP. SNACK stands for stop, notice, accept, be curious, okay? And last but not least, please be kind. Anyone see the Ellen video that went viral yesterday, right? Ellen DeGeneres is always promoting kindness, right? Kindness. Sometimes we are not mindful, and sometimes we are careless about how we relate to other people. Kindness is also a very nice component of mindfulness. Snack is something that you can do if you're feeling a moment of overwhelm, okay? Snack. If you need the information, it's right there on the website, carlanaumberg.com. This is another technique that we use as part of the mindfulness repertoire. It was born out of cognitive behavioral therapy. We use it a lot with individuals that suffer from chronic anxiety or post-traumatic stress disorder. It involves grounding, basically being able to reset yourself to the awareness of the present moment by doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 is stopping in the moment to notice 5 things that you can see right in front of you. The wall, the clock, the table, the chair, your face, right? It just took me away from whatever that overwhelm was. 4 things that I can feel, right? I can feel my skin, right? I can feel my blouse. I can feel my breath. I can feel my stomach. Things that you can feel. 3 things that you can hear, okay? I can hear the clock. I can hear a plane going over us. I can hear the camera. I can hear the clicker. 2 things I can smell. I can smell my stress relief cream. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can smell some of the cleaning supplies that were used to clean the carpet. And last but not least, one thing I can taste. Well, I can still taste my watermelon gum that I had right before walking in here. By the time I'm done with the scan of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, guess what? I've reset. My mind has stopped obsessing about the overwhelm, and I have found my way back to grounding. If you need any more information about that, feel free to ask Nathan or myself. We'll get that to you. I want to introduce to you, this is Malik Chopra, and she is the daughter of Deepak Chopra. And she's going to lead us into a very, very brief breathing exercise, but just one exercise to kind of get you in the flow of what it's like to deal with your breath, okay? So whether you're watching on Zoom or whether you're here in the room, find a comfortable position in your seat, okay? Because this is just going to be a very, very slow, nice and easy breathing exercise to help you get a mindset of what, meditation could feel like, or just how to breathe better. And I have a quote from Tay: breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness, which unites your bodies to your thoughts. So anytime that your thoughts are fleeting, breathing is a very good thing to do to get yourself grounded. So I'm going to play that for you.
So let's practice a basic breathing meditation. I'd like you to find a comfortable place, sit comfortably. And what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes. We're going to focus on our breath coming in and then our breath coming out. Whenever our attention drifts away from our breath, it may be to thoughts, it may be to stimulation in our environment, it may be to some discomfort in our body. I just want you to bring your attention back to your breath coming in and coming out. And just remember, this should be relaxed. If you start feeling tense, you can change your position. And just, again, put your attention on the breath coming in and out. So let's close our eyes. You may want to take a few breaths just to settle in. And now breathe in. And out. In. And out. Just remember, as your attention drifts away from your breath, just gently put your attention back on your breath coming in and out. And now we'll practice the meditation for a few minutes together, and I'll tell you when to come out of the meditation. So I'd like you to take a few minutes and just again come out of the meditation. Before we open our eyes, I'd like you to think of an intent for the day, for your life in general, or for your community, for our planet. Set the intent. Think of it as a seed that you're planting, and then let it go to that infinite space that we've just come out of. Come back to your breath. And when you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes.
What Malik is talking about is really just getting the body. Let me stop that. This is going to play. Getting the body back in touch with its breath. That's really all that it is. It's remembering that you are more than the head. Remember last time we talked about it when John said we spend so much of our life in thoughts, which are this part, but not in feeling or sensing or noticing, which is in the body. The breath is the way that you anchor yourself back into your body. An intent for today could be kindness, right? If we could all leave this session today, those of us that are here, those of us that are watching, with an intent to be kind and to remember that every time we take a breath, we will have done something helpful. Up on the presentation, you can see a book. This is a book that Malika wrote, Living with Intent. But I thought it was a really lighthearted approach. The subtitle is My Somewhat Messy Journey to Purpose, Peace, and Joy. And that's because life, as we all know, is complicated and sometimes a bit messy. But when we begin to be more mindful, we can be more intentional about how we live our life. Once again, the quote from John Kabat-Zinn that we had up last week, the definition of mindfulness, an awareness, right? An awareness that rises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. It's really just about knowing what's on your mind. That's really all that it is. It's just about being aware that something's lurking up there. What is it? Breathing, experiencing it, and acknowledging it, but not judging it. Just being with it. And so we did the math and we came up with 50 random thoughts a minute. Turns out it's about 50,000 a day. Do you know what the possibilities are in 50,000 thoughts a day? And how many of them, if I was able to connect you to a functional MRI machine, I would be able to know were negative? A large majority of them would be. Because the brain, as best we know from neuroscience, is negatively skewed to be preoccupied, to worry, to be anxious, and to be in the negative Mindfulness is our attempt to bring it and center it. I'm not even suggesting that we go all the way to the other end of the spectrum toward positivity. I'm just bringing it from negative to neutral, to non-judgmental spaces. Cute, but I think very powerful quote by John Kabat-Zinn. The little things, the little moments, guess what? They're not little. They add up to a lot if we're just mindful. So how are we going to integrate mindfulness into our life, you say? Not just through meditation, okay? So for those of you that are still not sold on that concept, I want to introduce other things to you. Of course, right, the practice that we just did, the practice of breathing, the practice of meditation is probably the most commonly utilized way to be mindful, but there are many other ways that we can be mindful. One of them is our eating habits. And why do you think that eating mindfully would be helpful? I'm interested in your opinions. Why would eating mindfully be helpful?
Helps with your digestion.
Helps with your digestion, absolutely. Anybody else?
Helps you enjoy it more and hopefully eat less.
Hopefully enjoy it more, hopefully eat less. Anyone else? Actually taste the food. Nathan.
We had a listener that says, enjoy the taste, from Jessica. Enjoying healthy foods gives you energy. And from Melody, it helps with nutrition and to eat.
Everybody gets an A+. Everybody gets an A+. And we talk a lot about this, Nathan and I, when we do a lot of workshops on total wellness, that there's a lot of importance to the nutrition that we consume. And so if we eat more mindfully, we can actually also just make better choices about what it is that we consume, but also enjoy it. We eat very mindlessly, we tend to overeat, we overindulge, and then we're left with a feeling of guilt.
Eating mindfully allows you to eat slower, allowing the full hormone to come out and be realized.
Absolutely. And therefore less craving. Because many times when we're not paying attention, those hormones are denied the time to process the food, and then you're still craving more food because it didn't acknowledge that it was received in the body. So there again, the mind and body connection. Mindful walking. What do you think about mindful walking? How many of us, right, walk out of any of these common areas of the university, and what do we see? A lot of people running from one or other direction with not a lot of mindfulness, right? How many of you have almost been run over by a skateboard, right? Or a golf cart? And so what could we be doing more differently is paying more attention to the direction that we're going in, who we're walking towards, who's walking towards us, acknowledging people that we know, taking in some faces, taking in some scenery, appreciating all that is around us instead of just, I'm getting from here to there. So it's about being mindful of the journey, not just your destination. Mindful leadership. We have a comment, Nathan.
Katie says it allows you to stop and smell the roses. And that Melody states that many people now are just staring at cell phones while crossing streets and walking.
Great, I'm glad. I'll take a moment to address that comment. Have you noticed at the entrance of 107th Avenue, one of our entrances, the sign that is now on the sidewalk? There is now a sign that is literally addressing those that are coming on campus about being mindful about looking up and not looking down onto their cell phones. I was delighted the day that I saw that. Whoever is watching or knows is responsible for that, a big kudos, because that's awareness. And it's health promotion at the same time. It's being conscientious that you are now walking into an area that is very heavily populated and that you could come into harm's way. And so I love that. The truth is that yes, we could stop and smell the roses if there were any on campus, but there's a lot of other things that we can smell, right? Some delightful smells of coffee, right? Hopefully the baking bread of Panera when they open, and other wonderful things that we can take in. That's one of my favorite parts of walking on campus in the morning is hearing the birds and seeing all the wonderful people that work to keep our landscaping so beautiful. I love to acknowledge them for making the grounds as lovely as they are, not just on this campus, Yesterday I was at BBC and I was admiring the work that they're doing there as well. But moving on to mindful leadership, that is actually a very intentional way of going about in leading others mindfully. There's an entire workshop that I do, but for all of you that are going to be attending the third part of this series, you're going to get a flavor of mindful leadership. And that is not just at FIU. Mindful leadership in your life. Many of you are stewards of your family. Some of you are stewards of your community. Some of you are stewards in any governance around in Miami-Dade, Broward County, maybe even Monroe area, as well as maybe your church or your synagogue or your mosque, wherever you may attend. There may be many ways that you can be a better, more mindful contributor. Anyone interested in mindful parenting? I've survived 2 young adults. I can tell you that it did help me along the way to make less mistakes. But mindfully, socializing children, it leads to just better, well-adjusted, right, individuals when they grow up. So we're going to talk about mindful parenting. And what about mindful educating, right? Mindful educating. We are a higher ed institution. What do? We teach. And so it's not just about the pedagogy, right? Just going in through the content of subject matter expertise, but also how the method is delivered. There was a wonderful article that I was reading this morning on my way to work about the importance of the relationship between the professor and the student, and how they're finding that students that feel that they have a better connection and relationship with their professors, their teachers, they actually get better grades, they enjoy the class, less dropout rates. No surprise, right? And last but not least, just living mindfully, right? Walking on this earth with greater intention, with less distress, okay? So these are a few ways that we can practice mindfulness. So we see, what do we see on the left? We see a class, right? We see folks that are doing some stretching. They may be actually going into a yoga lesson. Over on the right, we see the young man who is meditating. And anyone want to give me a shot at guessing what it is that you see on the lower left-hand side of the presentation? What is it that you think you're seeing in that image? Doodling, coloring, yes, over here.
Connie says Zen doodle and Ebony says coloring.
Absolutely. Both have been found to be very helpful. In fact, sometimes we've done it at the OEA. I have bought all of my clinicians' mindful calendars. You actually can purchase them on Amazon. And so my encouragement to my staff and myself, I have one in my office, is that between sessions and in between emails and answering phone calls, doodle a little bit, color a little bit, get your mind decluttered before you can receive and welcome and be present for others. This is a great little book. I actually have it in my office. You are more than welcome to come and borrow it. This is Tay's take on how to eat, and it covers all the things we just talked about, right? Smelling, feeling, tasting, savoring, right? All the things that we consume for our nourishment, but also, for our health. It's important that we be mindful about how we eat. Remember we talked about mindful walking? Okay, so I'm going to play this little video for you, and then you have a little assignment, okay, at the end of the workshop. On your way back to your office today from here, I would love for you to walk back and find 3 things that you've never observed before, okay? So remember that, especially everyone here in the room, but those of you on Zoom, okay? Try to find 3 things you've never noticed before. You'll hopefully enjoy this little video. It's very
proudly presented by TheWellChoice.com. Do you ever find yourself walking from A to B with a busy mind that's frantically planning, analyzing, worrying, or stressing? When that happens, do you feel connected and present, or anxious, absent, and troubled? All that chatter in your brain can contribute to feelings of anxiety and depression. Cultivating contentment in everything you do is one of the fundamental secrets to happiness. And being conscious of your environment while walking is a great way to get more presence and awareness into your day. Each time you're walking somewhere, whether it's outside, in the mall, or around the office, consciously look around for 3 new things that you've never seen before. This will make you more present in the moment and help with your mindfulness and state of mind by taking some of the focus off any stresses in your life. This technique can also help you to appreciate your environment and facilitate a state of calm and balance within your autonomic nervous system. Take a look around. What can you find?
Cute, right? But it gets the point.
This pop-up is proudly produced by Q Wellness. If you'd like some help creating a wellness culture in your school, please get in touch.
All right, so I'm going to put it to the test. All right, you game? All right, I heard one yes. I'm going to take that as a plural, as a community yes, okay? So you see these three very recognizable images. Would we all agree we know what these images are for the most part? Okay, starting with Martin Luther King Jr. I'd like to ask those on Zoom and those here, where in MMC is the statue of Martin Luther King located? In the back?
Right on the side when you walk out of the atrium.
Uh-huh.
On the side of GC.
All right, A plus over there, A plus. Is there such a statue at BBC? And if so, where is it? Anyone know? Is there one to begin with? And if it's there, where is it? Does anyone on Zoom know? All those here are stumped.
I'm gonna guess there is one.
Yeah, okay, so Elisa's guessing that there is one. Let's see, we have somebody on Zoom.
Miguel says it's in front of the AC1 building.
All right, way to go, Miguel. Good job. What about Jose Marti? Do we have Jose Marti here at MMC, and where is Jose's statue? Yes, Elisa.
It's right next to the lake.
There's many lakes. Okay, which lake?
It's behind GL.
Okay.
So if we exit, it's gonna be to the left.
It's back there. Behind
Yeah.
Jill. Yes. Yeah. It's when we're in this library, it's hard to know which direction we're facing. Yes, the statue is between GL and the engineering and computing, right? Science building. Is there one at BBC? Does anyone know? Okay, someone on Zoom knows.
So Dolores says it's in the back parking lot by housing.
All right, Dolores, way to go. What about our Statue of Liberty? Do we have a Statue of Liberty statue here at MMC, and if so, where is it? All right, what do you know, Nathan?
Connie says it's between SIPA and the Ryder Business Building.
Way to go, Connie. Is there one at BBC? Does anybody know, and where is it? Come on. Yes.
In front of the MSB building from Miguel.
All right, Miguel, way to go. So this is just an exercise in our awareness, even as to where we are, okay? And I do change it up in the presentation. Sometimes I pick things that are in other campuses. Yes, Nathan.
Ebony says that she walks past there all the time and didn't realize it.
All right, Ebony, time to focus, right? But at least she's willing. Great job. So we talked about the fact that I'm going to offer a lot of information in the third component of this series, and it's going to go into greater detail. But I thought I'd give you a flavor, just a flavor of what mindful leadership is. And the key words that are in the bottom of the presentation are the key findings that we have been learning institute create for a better and more mindful leader. So I'm going to play that video for you.
Leadership today is really hard. There's rapidly increasing globalization. There's enormous amounts of data. There's constant market disruption. Leaders have to make decisions in conditions which have never been as challenging, certainly not since the last war. And they've got to make smart, effective decisions and keep themselves in really good shape in order to do that. Along with Megan Riggs and other colleagues at Ashridge Business School, we conducted the world's first research into a multi-session mindful leader training program. We recruited 57 senior business leaders and gave them 8 weeks of mindfulness training.
They got the
MBSR. Those leaders who came on the program and did at least 10 minutes of mindfulness practice a day developed 5 key capacities. First of all, they became more empathic, better able to connect with other people. They became better able to focus, to place their attention where they wanted it to be for a time to keep it. They became better able to see their own perspective as that, just as a perspective, and to see others' perspective as simply a different perspective. And that enabled them better to sort of negotiate in terms of, well, I've got my perspective, you've got yours, let's work this out. They became better able to regulate their own emotions, so they became less reactive and a bit more open-heartedly responsive. And finally, they became better able to adapt to changing circumstances. So they were able to shift and change as circumstances around them change. Those 5 cognitive and emotional skills meant that the leaders who trained in mindfulness became better able to collaborate. They became more personally resilient. They became better at making decisions in the face of enormous complexity. We need leaders like that more than ever before. All it takes is a short training course and 10 minutes a day of daily practice. The world's crying out for mindful leaders today. If people can only do that, then they can begin to change the world for the better.
I thought it was a very good message. What do you think? Right? If we can focus on just mindful leaders, what a difference that would make. What they're referring to is the MBSR program that John Kabat-Zinn developed, the 8 weeks and 10-minute practice a day. Who doesn't have 10 minutes? I've been asked this question many times. Do I have to do 10 minutes straight? No, you don't. You can break it down. You can break it down into 2 practices of 5 minutes. You could do 10 sessions of 1-minute practice. The goal is just to calm the mind down for a total of 10 minutes a day. This next very small video from the Greater Good Science Center talks about mindful parenting. And again, it's just a flavor, right, of what you can learn. And in the bottom, the keywords are the takeaways from people that went through mindful parenting courses. They're better able to attend, better able to breathe, focus, notice, breathe, and move on. I have a question.
Honey wants you to repeat what the 8-week program is called.
Mindfulness-based stress reduction, known as MBSR. And there are local certified trainers as well as national trainers, and there's also a training going on online through Sounds True, SOUNDSTRUE, Sounds True. It can cost you around $500 to as much as $2,000 depending on where you go. The goal is eventually to bring that training here, so you'll be able to participate in that kind of training here at FIU. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to hear from the Greater Good Science Center on mindful parenting. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to get it there. It's not going. It's stuck. Oh, I got it. It just wouldn't go. This is Dr. Carter.
One way for parents to bring more joy and peace into your parenting is to practice mindful parenting, or to bring a little bit of mindfulness into the ways that you interact with your kids. So mindfulness is just attentive awareness of what you might be feeling in your emotions or in your body, or even just what might be going on, that you're not judgmental about, that you kind of accept it. So for parenting, it's great because it gives you time to pause and plan before you actually respond to a stimulus. So kids might do something really frustrating to you, you have a minute to take a breath, and then you can react to it in hopefully a different way than you might have if you hadn't had that moment of mindful awareness. So a lot of this is just getting in the habit of mindfulness, and I use just simple little sticky notes to remind me to practice being more mindful. I write on that sticky note, notice, label, accept, breathe. So for a while there, I had one of these sticky notes in the kitchen on the clock, because I noticed that right before I would start to feel anxious that we were running out of time in the mornings, I needed a moment of mindfulness. So I put this little sticky note there. I would look at the clock to see if we're running late, and I think, okay, I'm going to take this mindful moment to notice that I'm starting to feel hurried. It's making me feel a little tense in my body, but I accept this is the way the morning is going. I'm just going to take a deep breath right now, and then I can move on with our day.
It's the same concept. Did you see that the method that she used was stop? That was the method that she used. So the same mnemonic device that we were learning earlier. These are 3 books. If you want to jot down these names, these would be wonderful books if you're interested in learning more about mindful parenting. We can get this information to you if you don't have a chance to take the information down in the time during the presentation. We talked about mindful educating. I found it very interesting that the literature review that I did for mindful educating was very similar to mindful leadership, and the qualities were very much the same. The qualities of a mindful teacher is a teacher who is curious, compassionate, attentive, intentional, open-minded, and authentic. Those happen to be the same qualities that we need in a mindful leader. You're going to learn more about that in the 3rd segment. Did you all get a chance to look at her desk and see her name? I thought you'd find that interesting. Miss Breeze. I thought that was a really clever little hidden thing. So these are 3 books that if you're interested also in learning more about mindful educating, you might want to take down the names. The Way of Mindful Education, The Mindful Teacher, and Mindful Teacher and Teaching Mindfulness. Some of these books are available here at the library, and you can check them out at no cost, okay? Again, if you don't have time to jot these down, we can get the presentation to you, or we can get the names of the books to you. I wanted to take time to go through this video, but I'm going to skip it in keeping with the time that we promised that we would stay under in order for us to do a meditation. Would that be okay with everybody? This is a video about a teacher and her perspective of the benefit of being mindful, not just for her, but what it has done to change her classroom behaviors. It's a very positive video. If you want to hear it, I can get that to you. This is the video about the student experience, but I'm willing to share that with you at another time. What I wanted to share with you, I always like to disclose things about my practices and what I do. I've told you that I have a subscription and I read Mindful Magazine. It's in my office. This is the refrigerator at my home. This is a photo of my son and my daughter when they were little. And those are anchors to remind me about what matters in my life. And then that decal that you see there was given to me by my daughter, who's now 25 and no longer cute like that photo. But it was her way of supporting my work. And it reads, be mindful even if your mind is full, to remind me of my own anchors. This is a wonderful app. I have it on my phone. It's free, so if you want to look it up, you can download it into any device. And then I have this wonderful little book that if you're ever interested in reading, I have it in my office. It's called Mindfulness on the Go, right? Which is the name of this presentation. Cute little stories. So remember that your life's diet is not just what you eat. It's everything that you consume. So it's important that you consume good things for you that are emotionally satisfying, that are healthy for your spirit and your body. So this is in review, everything we've talked about, right? We now know that mindfulness helps us to take on emotional challenges. It also helps us deal with all kinds of aches and pains. It helps us to have a better memory, to focus, to concentrate better. It helps us get along better with other people because we're just much more aware. And the last thing it affects is that when you touch someone and you perpetuate that by passing along, like many of the folks that practice meditation with me every other week, you see the ripple effects of your life and other people that it touches. So we're going to finish this segment with a meditation on gratitude. If you could please, wherever you may be on Zoom or here, if you could find a comfortable position in your seat, we're going to do this 5-minute meditation. Please make sure that your legs are uncrossed, that your arms are uncrossed, that your shoulders are relaxed, that your tongue is not at the ceiling of your mouth, and that your jaws are not clenched, and make sure that your circulation is nice and loose. And take a nice cleansing breath in and out. And we're going to begin our meditation. And I want you to please close your eyes.
gratitude. Close your eyes and rest your hands on your knees. Bring your awareness to the touch of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your body on your chair or cushion. Take a few deep breaths. While you're breathing deeply, relax your shoulders, your stomach muscle, the muscles in your face, and your hands, and your legs. Let go of all the tension in your body. Now bring your attention back to your breath. Notice what it feels like as it enters through your nose, goes down your throat, filling your lungs, and back out through your nose. Notice your stomach and chest rise and fall with each inhale and exhale. And allow your breathing to be natural and relaxed. Whenever you become distracted, gently bring your attention back to the sensation of your breath going in and out. Maintaining this mindful awareness, take a moment to reflect on gratitude. What are you truly thankful for? It's easy to forget that on the most basic level, we are alive and breathing. We may have problems and experience pain, but in many ways, we have a healthy life compared to other people. Think about the freedoms you have that many in the world don't get to experience. Think about the opportunities that are available to you. How might it feel if any of those things were taken away? Think about your relationship. What support have you been given throughout your life? Think of people who have been kind to you, the family members and friends who have supported you. Remember the teachers who have encouraged and taught you or have inspired you to learn. How much do you depend on the cooperation and support of other people? Think about how your home, your school, the food you eat, and the clothes you wear all come from the efforts and hard work of other people. And just take a moment to genuinely appreciate all of the freedoms, opportunities, and support available to you. Now, it may be that you're not feeling so grateful right now at this very moment, and that's okay. Just notice where you are and make the wish to feel gratitude. Now let all of your thoughts, images, and feelings dissolve, like a cloud dissolving in the sky, and let your mind rest.
When you're ready, gently bring your attention back to the room and to the touch of your body on your seat.
Welcome back. You may open your eyes. Whether you choose your intention today to be gratitude or to be kindness, be gentle with yourself. And remember to take a lot of breaths and reset your day anytime you want to, because it's on the go, it's with you wherever you go. You don't have to work really hard. You're with yourself all the time, remember? Everywhere you go, there you are. So breathe in, breathe out, you press reset, you get to start all over. Hopefully you heard messages today that hopefully resonate with you and have piqued your interest on coming back to the third segment so you can learn more about being a mindful leader in your life. I'm always delighted to have attend these workshops because Nathan and I are very invested in your well-being. So if you can share, victories with other people, spread the good message along, we would be very grateful. Thank you for having me.
All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. Make sure that you fill out the attendance sheet if you're here in person to make sure you get the credit. And then those that are online, I will already have your attendance once I download the spec sheet. Just make sure that if you called in and you didn't happen to log into Zoom, that I will need you to email me because I won't be able to get your name. I will get the phone number, but not the name. Our final session will be October 17th. And those that are out in on Zoom, we would love to have you here in person for that one. That one's going to be an amazing one. But if not, we completely understand, and we still do appreciate your dedication to watch in, tune in, and enjoy. So with that, I want to thank everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and make sure it's a little bit more mindful.